do not neglect your short game like most golfers do. There is no such thing as a scratch golf swing or a +2 handicap swing. It's all about learning how to swing your swing. But at the end of the day, it's you versus you. Stop worrying about the opinion of others. Do you want to become a scratch golfer? Is your goal to see that 0.0 on your handicap card? If so, you're in the right place. First off, this is a lofty goal. As Golf Monthly said, scratch players are in the top 1% of amateur golfers. So yes, it is a big goal, but that's how all great things happen in golf and in life. We have to set big goals, so that way we can put in the work and hopefully make them happen. If you're new to the channel, thanks so much for being here. My name is Michael Leonard. I'm a +2 handicap now, but that wasn't always the case. In fact, in high school, I shot in the 120s as a freshman. Then, by the time I got to my senior year, I was shooting in the 70s and eventually played a few years of college golf. After taking some time off after college, I got back into golf aggressively since 2017 and have competed in more than 300 days of tournament golf, and now am about a +2 handicap. Today, I'm going to share 7 things I did not do. Well, I did some of them, but if I had to go back and do it all over again, these are 7 things I would not do to become a scratch golfer. Now, the first thing I did not do to become a scratch golfer is ignore my short game. If you're serious about going low, even breaking 80, and if you want to get to that point where you can shoot in the 70s or even break par, you cannot neglect your short game. Don't forget, even the best players in the world only hit about 67% of greens in regulation. Needless to say, you're going to be missing greens and you're going to have chips, flops, bunker shots. So you have to make sure you can get up and down as much as possible. I'll never forget a day in high school where I hit 2 greens in regulation and still shot 74. I had a couple of chip ins, I had a ton of up and downs, and obviously was feeling it on the greens. So just remember that yes, we want to improve our ball striking, we want to hit it longer, we want to improve our contact, but at the same time, do not neglect your short game like most golfers do. If you go to a practice facility, you will see that most players are on the driving range hitting 7-iron, 5-iron, hybrid, woods, but they are neglecting the shots inside 100 yards, and there's very few people on the chipping and putting green. So don't neglect your short game on your quest to becoming a scratch golfer. The second thing I didn't do in my quest to scratch golf is neglect practice. As I mentioned in the last point, we have to be making sure that we're spending time on our short game, but in general, we just have to make sure to put in the work. I love having a goal like becoming a scratch golfer. However, you can't expect it to just happen without hard work. There's a reason that only 1% of amateur golfers are actually at that scratch level. It takes time. It takes work. So if having the goal is great, but if you don't actually want to put in the work on the driving range, you don't want to get your body right in the gym, you don't want to spend time on the mental side of it, it's probably not going to happen. But if you're someone that is committed, just make sure that you have a consistent practice schedule, that you're avoiding common practice mistakes that I talk about in my book, Wicked Smart Golf, and that you're staying with it. It doesn't mean every practice session is going to be the best one ever, but it's all about staying consistent and showing up day in and day out so you can eventually get to that scratch golf level. The third thing that I didn't do in my quest to scratch golf was overcomplicate my swing. Thank God YouTube wasn't around when I was growing up. Yeah, I'm that old. But seriously, YouTube is great for a lot of things. However, it's easy to go down the swing rabbit hole and always go to different people for different tips and end up always playing golf swing versus simply going out and playing golf. Don't get me wrong, you need to develop some sort of consistent swing, but don't feel like you have to have a perfect swing and swing like Rory or Tiger or whoever your favorite golfer is to actually play great golf. Look, I have a lot of trolls on Facebook and other social media sites sometimes when I post my swing telling me how bad I am or all the positions I'm doing. But again, I'm a +2 handicap. So hopefully you can just use that as motivation that there is no such thing as a scratch golf swing or a +2 handicap swing. It's all about learning how to swing your swing and develop consistency so you start to know your swing and know your game better. The thing that I didn't do in my quest to scratch golf was neglect the mental side of the game. Golf is a mental game, as you know, and a real mental grind as you get better and better. So I like to think of the mental game kind of like a sliding scale. If you're shooting in the hundreds right now and you can't hit it more than 200 yards at most, the mental game isn't going to be that important. However, the better you get, the more important the mental game is. Especially at a level where I'm at, where I played a ton of tournaments, I go to USGA qualifiers, I compete in pro events as an amateur, we all can hit it pretty good. It's just, how can we mentally deal with the hurdles? How can we deal with the weather? How can we deal with the course? How can we deal with our own swing not showing up some days? And so that's why the mental game is so important. That's why I talk about it extensively on my podcast, Wicked Smart Golf, and in my book as well. The entire first section is all about the mental game. because the better you can be up here, the more consistent you're going to be on the course, the more clutch you're going to be under pressure, and the better you're going to be able to deal with adversity that is going to happen during a round of golf. The fifth thing I didn't do in my quest to scratch golf, well, okay, I definitely did this, but if you want to become a scratch golfer, please don't do this, and that's worry about the opinion of other golfers. It's one of the biggest things I hear from my mental golf coaching students is that they're worried about what other people are going to think about them on the range. Maybe if you join a league, you're worried about people are going to see about your score or your swing. But at the end of the day, it's you versus you. Stop worrying about the opinion of others. As someone that used to be a terrible golfer and is advanced all the way to a plus handicap now, I can say that I am never judging golfers that are shooting in the hundreds or 90s or 80s. I know what it's like. Every golfer knows what it's like. So again, people do not really care about your swing or your game nearly as much as you think. So instead of trying to compare yourself or your swing to anyone else's, simply compare yourself to your previous self. All that matters is who you were yesterday, the week before, the month before, the year before. Only compare yourself to your previous self and stop worrying about the opinion of others so you can get to scratch golf sooner. The sixth thing I didn't do in my quest to scratch golf is ignore course management. If you really want to shoot consistently and get in those 70s more often, you got to learn how to think your way around the golf course. Too many golfers have no course management strategy and have no idea what they're doing on tee boxes and approach shots, and a lot of times that leads to not picking targets correctly, playing too aggressively, and getting into a lot of trouble. Now, course management doesn't mean that you need to never hit driver or hit 3-wood instead of it or lay up to a perfect distance. No, that's actually not the case at all. In fact, if you want to learn proper course management and you want to get to scratch golf or you want to actually play in golf tournaments, you have to learn Decade Golf by Scott Fawcett. This system absolutely transformed my game. I learned it back in 2022, and ever since I started using it, it has literally been one of the main reasons I've been able to get to a +2, +2.5, and close to a +3 at times. So again, course management is key at any level, but especially if your quest is to get to scratch golf. Learn Decade Golf. The link is going to be down below if you want to access a 20% off discount code, or you can simply enter Wicked Smart at checkout, and that system will absolutely transform the way you play from tee to green. The final thing that I didn't do in my quest to scratch golf is try to shoot 72 every single time I went out there. One of the biggest problems I hear from my mental golf coaching students is they're always worried about your score. If you go out there on any given day and say, I'm going to shoot 72 today, I'm going to break 80 and shoot 79, like whatever you have as a goal, if you go out there and put that out before the round, it's going to make things even harder. Look, golf has a lot of variabilities. We have the wind, we have weather, the course conditions, how your body feels on any given day. There's a lot of things out there that already make golf hard. And if you attach a number before you've ever even hit a shot, you're just making things more difficult. Because here's the thing, when you set a score goal, let's say you set a goal to shoot 72. What if you make a triple bogey on the first hole? A lot of golfers don't have the mental strength to push through, and they kind of just mentally give up the rest of the day. So you don't want to set a score goal. It's just going to add more pressure and more expectations to a game that is already hard enough. Instead, what I like to do is set birdie goals. If you're a higher handicapper, you can set par goals. So that way you kind of stay consistent and you have something you're chasing after. But again, that way if you get off to a slow start, you're not derailed and you're going to be able to stay in the round mentally and physically to hopefully bounce back quicker. One of the best goals you can have for every round is to simply stick to your pre-shot routine. I talk about it a lot on this channel and on my podcast because that's the one thing that I can find that all good players have in common. So if you want to play more consistently and you want to get to scratch golf, make sure to dial in a good routine. To create one, simply go to wickedsmartgolf.com/routine, and that way you can actually learn the step-by-step process to develop a pre-shot routine like a pro.